The Alumni Lounge podcast is a student-produced publication. The views and opinions expressed are those of student creators and do not necessarily reflect the position, policies, or opinions of the school district, or the Board of Education. Welcome to another episode of Alumni Lounge. Today I have Melanie Bakerich, a proud Piper graduate. Ms. Bakerich, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Yasmene.
Tell me your first time as a Piper High School student.
Tell you about my first time as a Piper High School student. So freshman, I would have been 1988, but I ended up, by senior year, I was class of 1991. Very small town, a lot different than what you guys are used to now. So my class, ironically, had 91 graduates in it, and I was class of 91. So where you guys have 200 plus. So you're over double the amount of students I had. So it was a small town feel, none of the legends, none of the stuff, a lot of fields. And you knew everybody. You knew everybody, and you knew their brothers and sisters, and you knew their cousins, aunt, uncles, grandparents. Like, you knew who everybody was. So that is what it was like in my experience at Piper in 1991.
What was your favorite memory?
I would say, I don't know if one specific memory stands out, but the hub of what was the high school, which is a little bit different now than it was back then, but everything revolved around football games, basketball games, baseball games, the dances. There was just everybody. If there was something happening at the school, a production, a drill team performance, everybody was at the school for that function, where I feel like a lot of people have a lot more things going on personally where they can't always come to the school functions. Our lives revolved around that. So on Friday night, plan on every single person packing the gym and it being full where you can't get a seat. So that's what it was. Those are my favorite memories.
Was there a teacher that influenced you?
Yes. So probably my most influential teacher went back though to fifth grade. It was Mrs. Mary Gonzalez, and she still is active today in the community. She's into politics actually, and also now I am on the Board of Education. So she was very influential. We have some similarities. She had 3 boys. I have 3 boys. She's very involved with her communities, as am I. Very family focused. So am I. But she was very influential as one of my favorite teachers. If I got to high school, a lot of influential teachers, but I will tell you there was one teacher in particular that stands out, and that is Miss Saka. And she was back then it was what we called grammar, and it was 9th grade year. And she came into the classroom at the start of every year. She'd walk in and she'd slam the door, and she had this scowl on her face, and you were like, oh my gosh, what is this? What is happening here? But she wasn't like that. She was just making a point, and she drilled in grammar, punctuation, all those kind of things. You had a grammar notebook you turned in at the end of the year, which was a huge project, but she really taught you grammar and writing and all those kind of things. And she was a great teacher with a great foundation.
Sounds like it. What advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
I would tell my 16-year-old self, well, first off, surround yourself with people that lift you up. Like, your support system, your friends, everybody that's around you is so important. They've got to be your biggest fan. So that's a huge thing. And then I would say the other thing is high school is just a blurb, and it feels like the biggest time of your life, and it is, because it does shape you in lots of ways. But the thing that you need to realize is there's going to be a lot of twists and turns. You're going to make a decision, and then you're going to realize that wasn't the right decision for me. So be able to, like, ebb and flow, go with things. If you have to pivot and go the other way, you end up being exactly where you're supposed to be. So don't let those big decisions or mistakes mold who you think you are, because you're so much bigger than that, and you're going to get to where you need to be.
Tell me about your life after Piper High School.
So I went to, when I graduated, I went to Kansas Community College, on an honor scholarship. So I was there 2 years and graduated with my associates. And then I transferred to KU and I was in the school of journalism. And I originally went into broadcast journalism, and that's what I wanted to do. Then once I got into that, I realized that it was such well, first off, back then you didn't make anything. You made like $20,000 and you had to have this great wardrobe. So I was like, I don't know how I would make that number work. So I went into business communications, which was more of the journalism side of it and business. And so then I graduated from there, went into the workforce, and then I was mainly in sales. So that's mainly what my job has been until I got married, was in sales, and then I started having kids, and I've been stay at home with them. Plus, I had been um, volunteer in Piper schools, and then my husband and I have a commercial construction company that I help him out when need be.
What motivated you to serve on the board?
So I feel like, so I've been here forever. So I've seen the highs, the lows, the growing pains, the great things. And I have a passion for Piper, and I know all that Piper can be. Um, I would say because I'm in the PTA, and when the boys were younger, I would volunteer in classrooms, and and I'm on the Piper Education Foundation. I'm at everything. So I know a lot of the ways of the districts and how things work, and, the needs of teachers, students, that kind of thing. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm already at the things. I have a great knowledge of it. I have a great passion for it. Also involved with out in the community. So I thought, you know what? Now is a great time to bring all my knowledge, all my relationships, and put some work in for the Board of Education.
I think that's a great thing. How do you handle disagreements or tough decisions?
So I always believe the best thing you can do is sit down with a person, or people for that matter, and get all the information out, their side, your side, and not that there should be sides, but how things happen for them, how you see things. And I feel like nothing is ever too big that you can't just discuss it with somebody and come to a common decision, a common agreement. So I believe everything is communication, being transparent, and being 100% open-minded. Because just because you come into something and you think it's a certain way, you need to listen, because you're probably going to learn something new that's going to change your opinion on something.
How did your college experience set you on the path for success?
I think my college experience, so college to me is always more than just the education part of it. You meet so many different people from so many different walks of life with so many different experiences that it really does help you become a well-rounded human on how you work with people and you interact with people. So I feel like college prepared me for that, but college did also give me a great background in business communications, my education, and being able to write and communicate and work with people. So I would say college, great 4 years to kind of be out on your own, discover things, and learn about people and working with people, and I think that has helped me in every step of life.
Yeah. What was being on the board? Was being on the board always it for you, or did you think about doing something else?
So to give you a background, my mom was on the board, and she did 2 terms back in, I think it was about probably 80, maybe 88, around in that. It was right when I started high school. She was on the board for 8 years. And so, matter of fact, when, um, the 4 or 5 building, or CTE building, whatever people, now it's pre-K. It's had several names. And they built that, they built the middle school, like they made a lot of progress in that amount of time. So she was very involved. And then I always thought, you know what? I think I could do something like that. I think I could really help the community. And so it was always kind of on my radar. And then my husband, he was on the board. And so he was on just these previous 8 years. And so then I saw all the work that he did. And I was like, you know what? I think that we still have some time left, some work left, and let's do what we can for the school district.
While you're on the board, what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, I hope to accomplish to continue to work on the academies and make those the best that they can for all of you students. Also, as you can see, we're going to be hiring a new superintendent. So I want to make sure I think I can help on hiring a really great person to keep progress forward, working in the right direction. Um, I don't know. I think I can also help the community with making sure that more community involvement. There's a lot of people out there in our community that don't necessarily have school age kids, and I think they'd like to know what's going on in the schools, be more involved with the schools, understand the schools, and also when it comes time that if we ever, um, if you ever need a new school or if you never ever need anything at all, they are going to understand exactly what the school's needs are.
What's your biggest accomplishment since you've been on the board?
Well, so last night was my second meeting, so I'm very new to this, but I'm hoping. So I'll tell you what I'm hoping my accomplishment is. I'm hoping my accomplishment is hiring a really great superintendent for the school district. I hope that, and then I hope that people feel at the end they can say Melanie did everything that she could for us, for the teachers, for the students, for the community members, and that she heard us and that she really has a passion to do what's best for us.
Yeah, I think that's really sweet. What advice would you give a current Piper High School student?
So I would tell a current high school student is test out all the things. Like you have no idea. You're so young and you have no idea. Well, you do. You have an idea of what you're really good at, but there could be something out there completely different that you've never tried before that you might be amazing at. So I would say try all the things, anything that piques your interest. If you want to act, if you want to sing, if you want to play a sport, like give it a try because you might be surprised on how good you really are at something and then that might change the trajectory of your future altogether. You just never know. So I think keep your mind open and try and everything that you possibly can because you guys have and I will tell you that's one difference between now and when I was in school. Like we did the basics, like, and if you had the basics of math and then history, science, you had your basic classes and your electives were nothing like what you guys have. So you guys have the opportunity to try so many different things and you can find your next passion. So
Yeah. Do you feel like it's harder or easier to be a student today versus when you were here?
harder. And I would say harder in the fact of, and maybe it's because I'm a younger generation. Like I see how much you guys have to do with computers and just AI, computers, like social media, like navigating all those things. Like you have to be good at it. And I sit there and I'm overwhelmed thinking, oh my gosh, if I had to, when my kids come home and I'm like, why aren't you writing on paper? Well, we're just going to, you know, submit. And I'm always like, okay, that stresses me out. And so, but I think the fact that you guys are at a whole new level with technology, I think that has to be harder. I think being a student in a world where everything is on the internet has to be intimidating and also scary because you feel like everything you do can be seen. And there was something nice about being in an era where we didn't even have, I mean, we just got caller ID when I was in high school. So no one could track your every move and see every single thing you did. So you got to be a kid a little bit more, where I feel like that you guys have to tread lightly and fear of a mistake, which part of growing up is making mistakes. And so um, that has to be harder for you guys.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have left today. Miss Bakerich, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It was nice talking with you.